This is Julia Chumbadzi's traveling office. It's a minivan, a taxi, known locally as a marshutka. That's her with the glasses crammed into the back of the bus. Julia's a throwback to a bygone era of medical care. She makes house calls. She is a World Vision paraprofessional, specially trained as a teacher, a social worker, and a physical and occupational therapist, all rolled into one. She brings hope to desperate parents of children with special needs in rural western Georgia. Here doctors send painfully mixed messages to parents. They give diagnoses like schizophrenia for cerebral palsy and mental retardation. They don't tell distraught parents there is no cure. Then they contradict themselves when, along with family and friends, they urge parents to put their children in institutions. This is the city of Zestaponi, once the industrial heartland of Georgia. Most factories have closed, but a plant processing manganese still operates. Manganese dust flies off the back of transport trucks and spews out of chimneys, and it leaches into the soil. When breathed or ingested in water and food in high levels, it can cause brain, liver, and fetal damage. There are high rates of disabilities, physical and mental, in the villages about the city, but there are no special services or provisions for the children. No wheelchair ramps, no handicap parking spaces, and no help for parents. There's just poverty and terrible roads. The shame factor is strong around having so-called defective children. Children are routinely confined to home and sometimes even hidden away. Or parents relent to the intense pressure and put a child with special needs in an institution. They believe their kids will get professional care. The truth is quite the opposite. Care is minimal. Institutions are warehouses for so-called useless people, and institutions are notorious for physical and sexual abuse, labor and sexual exploitation, neglect, poor nutrition, and little or no education. Money given to institutions rarely impacts the children. Who wants to waste good money on a defective child? World Vision is working with the government and the United Nations to see these institutions closed. There are a number of programs, some to get children out now, and the paraprofessional program, to prevent the children from going in the first place. Julia helps keep kids out of the institutions. She and 14 colleagues exercise children to give them mobility. They teach basic living skills, and they build confidence. She trains parents to do the same with the kids. This work is critical. In an environment like this, one of high unemployment and little hope, children with special needs are the most likely to be sent to an institution. This is Becca. He's 14. He is the nut to the neighbors in his impoverished village. His mother believes he is disturbed because as an infant, he saw her husband beating her in an alcoholic rage. In reality, he has autism. He mostly walks, furtively, in large circles in the nearly empty second floor of his mother's house. For a long time, he did this naked in the family garden, which is why the neighbors feel as they do. Becca lives inside a very private world. Julia is the one person who can get inside it. She sings to him, cajoles, and is firm too, especially on the issue of dressing every morning. Her reward is a rare connection with Becca. People with autism often find ordinary contact and communication to be overwhelming, overstimulation. But with Julia, Becca moves outside his prison. He connects. Becca should probably be in specialized full-time care, but Georgia has no such service. So, until it does, Julia and World Vision visit Becca every week to bring the best life possible to a bright young man locked in a world not of his making. And this is Natya, another of the tough cases that come Julia's way. Natya is about 16. She has cerebral palsy, she's epileptic, and likely mentally delayed. Her mother has lost all hope. She can't believe her daughter is capable of progress. And this is Natya's greatest impediment, her own mother's lack of faith. Natya spends her days in bed in soaking diapers. When she has a seizure, she claws at the wallpaper. Julia has been visiting Natya for 3 months now. Natya is usually curled up and responsive when Julia arrives. Julia thinks Natya is never helped out of bed during the time between her visits. Nonetheless, Julia moves Natya to a wheelchair, and in velvety tones, she sings Natya into eye contact. Then she works on stretching Natya's contorted limbs and coaxing more responses. Julia sees improvement, more eye contact, more smiles, and Natya is now eager to get into her wheelchair. Natya looks forward to Julia's visits, her mother concedes. Julia gives Natya's mother instructions about hygiene and exercise, but the woman barely listens. No matter, Julia will return, for Natya, and in the hope that the girl's tiny improvements will eventually convince her mother that Natya can have quality of life. Julia works full-time as a chemistry teacher. Her unique pedagogical methods have become standard practiced in many West Georgian schools. She also puts in 20 hours a week as a paraprofessional. Julia earns just $87 a month on this job, plus an allowance for taxi fares. She treks through mud and snow. She has to skirt tough country guard dogs, and her workplaces are sometimes literally falling apart. Yes, that concrete balcony is hanging at a precarious angle off the second story of a house. But Julia has a knack for transforming the impossible into common, everyday experiences for these children. Progress is routinely slow, even infinitesimal, but every child kept out of an institution by her work is an almost immeasurable success.